Hey, what's up, guys? It is 0 Hour, episode 13. And of course, I'm your host, Tim Loy. We've got Jeff Hobbs in the house up here. We've got Justin Watson joining us as well. Greg Hopkins should be jumping on soon. Torres will not be with us this week. Quick rundown, guys, of what we've got going on today. We'll rehash UFC from last week, have a quick look at UFC 269, big pay-per-view event this weekend. Then we're going to talk to a couple fighters that we've got on the Aries 3 show. That's coming up on at the world famous Cotton Eye Joe, and that is January the 7th. And it's Aries 3, big professional main event, David Robbins versus Trevor Peek. Spoke to both of those guys last week. If you didn't get a chance to see that, go back and check out last week's episode. It's definitely worth the watch. While you're at it, if you give us a like and a subscribe, that would be awesome. That's the best way you can help us. If you hit the subscription notification, you'll get you'll get alerts every time that we post new content. And we've also got all the fights up now across the channel from Aries 1 and 2. So lots of content out there for you. Jeff, it is a fairly short week here this week, but still excited to talk to a couple guys from the card coming up for January.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Break's over. It's time to get at it. And when you start seeing us interviewing fighters, then you know it's getting close. It's time to rock and roll. Some of these guys, like you said, talking to Pat Crumpton tonight, coming right off the underground, so no rest for the wicked. It was right back into training and ready for this fight. So I'll be interested to see what these guys have to say tonight.
Justin, how's it been going out your way? Still training over there with the guys at Hobbs Jackson Wink, maybe getting ready to jump back in there in March. In the meantime, we've got a lot going on in January, February to get ready for it.
Yeah, man, no doubt. Nice having a little bit of downtime here in December, after coming off of a couple of real busy months regionally. So, but yeah, come January, I think we're full blown back into it, several cards coming up in the first few months, so can't wait for that.
All right, let's jump into it here. We've got about 10 minutes before Alex Riggs will join us for our first interview. So first off, we'll recap where we were for our picks. Of course, our picks brought to you by Action 24/7, Tennessee's only locally owned and operated sports book. You can use the promo code Aries and get a 100% match bonus on your first deposit up to $800. $800. You put in 800, they'll give you 800, and you can have $1,600 to play with. You can bet on the UFC this week. You can let it sit there and wait on the odds to come out on the Aries 3 fights and bet on those. You can do all the above. I'd definitely suggest doing that. So as we go into this week, folks, quick update on where we stood. I was in the lead, 5-1 on the slate, up 1.19 units, and I took Alex Morono as my only play, minus 225. He was a winner over Mickey Gall. I started second guessing myself on that a little bit as we got closer because I knew a lot of guys that I respect their opinions were going with Mickey Gall, but I stayed true to Alex Morono, got the win there. I'm now 6-1 and up 1.63 units. Coming into this week, Greg Hopkins joining us now. Hey, Greg, 4-2 plus 1.62 units coming into the week. He had a parlay of Luis Smolka along with Alex Morono and then Leonardo Santos. Lost 2 out of the 3. Got the win with Morono. Lost on Smolka and Santos. Now 4-3 and up 0.62 units. Greg, your take on your parlay here this weekend? That one, you got blown up early. First fight of the night, and you were done.
I was absolutely doing my entire best to try to show up as late as possible so I could miss this segment. I apologize for my tardiness, but I was trying to miss this exact part because I didn't want to get grilled because I knew Jeff was going to have something to say about it eventually. I mean, it is what it is. I was wrong. First round management did not do what they were supposed to for Smolka. And secondly, as pissed off as I was, hats off to Clay Guida, man. Like, that was awesome. So what else can you say?
Yeah, man, Santos, he spoiled a lot of nights. I'm not going to
Mhm.
gloat too much. I was actually on Morales, so I started the night off good, but overall, not a good night for me. Overall, Torres was 1-3 coming into the evening, down 2.34 units, and he had William Knight plus 130, gets the win there actually. So Torres moves to 2-3, and now only down 1.04 units. Fortunate to get the win, I must say. I had Minifield winning that. It might be because Minifield was on my tickets, but I thought that Knight was lucky to get that one. Justin 3-3 coming into the week, down 1.27 units. He had a parlay with Alex Morono along with Brendan Allen, Jimmy Crute. You also go 1-2, win on Morono, loss on Crute, loss on Allen. So now you're 3-4 and down 2.27 units. I warned you about the explosiveness of Jamal Hill.
Yeah, you did. I man, I shit the bed this week for sure. Shit the bed the last 3 or 4 weeks in a row, so it's definitely time to fix that. But I thought Jimmy Crute was gonna do a little better than that, man. I didn't see that one ending so fast. Brendan Allen, it was the biggest disappointment. I definitely didn't expect that fight to go that way. He got clipped on the feet, and for whatever reason, didn't try to take it to the ground. Just decided to stay on his feet and keep getting hit. So yeah, that was shitty. Hopefully I turn it around this week.
Rounding it out, Jeff Hobbs comes into the week 1-5, down 2.4 units. Had a two-way parlay. Alex Morono cashes for all of us, but he was on the wrong side of that decision with Alonzo Minifield, so he's now 1-6, down 3.4 units. Jeff, I thought they should have given you the win on the Minifield fight, though.
I do too. As well did just about every publication that I read or saw after the fight that it was wrong decision according to myself, my paycheck, my sports book. I will say for all those listening, I utilized my Action 24/7 match deposit this weekend on this card, and it is real. It does happen. Here's the thing. Honestly, I had a really, really good night. Out of an entire card, I only missed 3 fights on the entire card. Unfortunately, I had each one of those 3 in a different parlay. So while I only lost 3 fights all night, it completely fucked my whole night, and I lost every one. Between this one, the Allen fight, and the Guida fight, completely screwed up every parlay. So while as a whole I did really well for the night with my picks, walked away with absolutely zero, zilch.
Yeah, man, you were also very very close on the NFL Sunday as well, man. That was one of those in hindsight, I may have hedged out on those Steelers there at the last minute because I felt pretty comfortable your Chiefs were going to get it done late. Steelers cost you a grip there.
Yeah, well, I couldn't hedge because I put it all on that parlay.
Oh, $800.
I had I had a 16 parlay, a 5 out of the 6 hit, and the one that missed on it was the single 2-point conversion play by the Baltimore Ravens that touched his hands, his fingertips. I literally was already mentally spending all $831 in my head. And, to make it worse again, then the Chiefs, were the nighttime game, of course, obliterated, in that game. And so it just was salt in the wound that it certainly would have happened.
At least you got stories to tell now.
No, you guys. Hold on. Make sure nobody else in this house knows about it. All right, so keep it.
All right, let's move on to this week, guys. Big pay-per-view, double title fight, UFC 269. Pretty solid offering, I got to say. I guess this is the last big card of the year. And we'll go through our locks, guys. Again, these picks are on Action 24/7. Use that promo code Aries, get that deposit bonus, and tell them we sent you. I'll go ahead and give you guys Torres's play for this one as he comes in. Like I said, he's down negative 1.04 units, knocking at the door of being above water, and he can get there this week if he hits his play. It's a 3-way parlay. Amanda Nunes, along with Sean O'Malley and Dustin Poirier, stepping out there with Poirier a little bit, but if he hits on this one, that's plus 132. So 1.32 units will get Torres into the black if he hits. Jeff, we'll let you lead off here. You've got a parlay of your own. I'll let you tell the good folks.
Yeah, I've got Ryan Hall to win as part of my parlay. I think what's my guy's name? Minner.
Derek Minner, yeah.
Yeah, Derek Minner. Known him for a while, and there's no denying his game is on the mat and on the ground. But I think when he gets down there with Ryan Hall, Ryan's got what it takes to slide some sneaky sub shit on him and pull something out. So I'm going with Hall for the win, and then I'm going with Munoz and Cruz to the over on that one, the over 2.5. I think Cruz has still got enough in the tank to go the distance. He's shown that. He's hard to get out. Munoz has got power and he's ended some fights, but all in all, if you look at his career, he's more of a distance type of guy than a finisher. So I just feel that that one will go over the 2.5 rounds.
I really like that parlay, Jeff. I got to say that is a plus 114 and on that. So you'll win 1.14 units with a win here. And I like both ends of that. Cruz is a guy that is very tough to get out of there. He doesn't finish a lot of fights himself. This being a 3-round fight versus, he's usually in 5-round fights also helps that as well. Justin, I'll let you go next.
All right, I'm taking Ponzinibbio over Jeff Neal. Jeff Neal's coming off of a couple losses. Ponzinibbio coming off of a decision win. Before that, a knockout loss. But Ponzinibbio has been pretty solid throughout the years. Jeff Neal has been good over the last few years too, barring those last 2 losses. But Jeff Neal had a little run-in with the law last week, I think, on Thanksgiving. Caught a DUI and a weapons charge and stuff.
Oh, wow.
So the fight's still on, but you have to think that's got to be playing into his mentality a little bit. So for that reason, I'm going to take Ponzinibbio in this fight.
The Pons is minus 130, so Justin will get with a win would get 0.77.
I think. Do you have it in front of you? I think that it was flip flopped before that chart. I think that Jeff Neal may have been the favorite originally.
Yes, that has flip flopped. Neal was a slight favorite when it opened, and it has flip flopped over to Ponzinibbio. I imagine those troubles with the law had a lot to do with that. Let's see, Greg, you're up next. You have got a 3-way parlay.
I think I'm gonna go balls deep.
You made it a 4th, didn't you?
Yeah. I'm gonna go balls deep and make it a 4-incher.
Okay, good. Tell the good folks.
And I'm gonna take the Augusto Sakai and Tai Tuivasa to not go the distance. That's minus 250. Sean O'Malley over Paiva. I still don't think that Paiva's like UFC potential. So and like we discussed earlier, Tim. Sean O'Malley's still not getting those huge paydays like you would think he would, so he's not going to take those tough fights. So this is a 125er, a natural 125er fighting Sean O'Malley. I'm taking him at minus 310. And then the GOAT Amanda Nunes is in there, and then we're going to take the main event not to go the distance. All those together come to what, plus 162?
Plus 163 is Greg will get 1.63 units if he gets all 4 of these. I like all of them except that the main event. I wouldn't be surprised if we go 5 rounds on the main event, but you never know. I guess both these guys are explosive finishers, and 5 rounds is a long time to go.
I just know that Poirier, he's got a decent amount of finishes on the feet, and Oliveira has a number of amount of finishes. I think they're like they both don't think either one of them's got like 10 finishes KO, 10 finishes submission, but they're floating along the lines. But between them, they've almost got like 20 finishes on submission to KO. So I'm just like wondering, if they win, they win by submit, they win by finish. If they lose by finish. So I'm thinking that both guys do that a lot. So I'm thinking that it happens.
Myself, I'm going with the what I hope to be a safe parlay. Amanda Nunes parlayed with Alex Perez over Matt Schnell. I think a lot of people are kind of looking back at Perez's last performance being a world title fight where he got guillotined by Davis and Figueiredo. But you take that out of the equation. He's fought and beat much better than Matt Schnell. my opinion. So I think Alex Perez gets back on the winning side here. Parlay that with Amanda Nunez, and I get back a slim 0.44 units, but it would put me over the +2 unit mark, and that's what I'm aiming for here, so I can let loose a little bit moving forward. And that is our plays. Those are our locks. Fade or follow at your own peril, and we'll recap these next week for UFC 269. Are we ready to get to Jeff? Have we got our first guest ready to go? We do. So we got Alex Riggs, or no, he's not ready yet. He's not there. I can't hear you, Jeff. I'm guessing he is there.
Yes.
There.
Everybody's here. Everybody's in the waiting room.
Okay, so
we're ready to go.
Awesome. Okay. Do we have any kind of pre-recorded messages to show the people, or are we just going to go right into this?
We're just who do we got on the panel that's going to step out while we do this?
It'll be me. Well, just me and you will stay in here, Jeff.
All right. Okay, Greg, Justin, kick rocks, buddy.
All right, we'll bring Greg and Justin back in here after our interview so we can go over the pro card for Aries 3. And a member of that pro card for Aries 3 joins us now as Alex Riggs is in the house. Alex, what's going on, my man?
Hey, not too much. Thanks for having me.
Hey, we appreciate you joining us. I guess you probably just got finished with training, so we definitely appreciate a few minutes of your times. Alex, of course, out of that Shield Systems camp in Knoxville, Tennessee, he's going to be competing at Aries 3 at January the 7th, world famous Cotton Eye Joe. Alex, you're going to be taking on Jose Arriaga, a guy that we just saw very recently at the Underground show in Nashville. I don't know, did you get a chance to catch his fight at all there, or no?
No, I wasn't able to.
Well, he came up on the short end, but it said Sergo. But I thought that he had some good moments on his feet. He's definitely a game guy. He's coming forward. He's attacking. He lacked a little bit on the ground, I thought. But from what I recall, you're a guy that likes to trade yourself. So I think that kind of sets us up for a nice, entertaining fight.
I think so. I hope it stays standing. But if not, I'm ready to go wherever we got to. I'm definitely looking for a finish.
No doubt. Now you're training there at Shield Systems with a bunch of killers: Scott Hot Sauce Holtzman, Demir the Bosnian Barcat, Frat Begovic, Amy Coleman. You got some amateur teammates on the card as well. What's the vibe like over there? You guys, I don't know that it is the first time ever, but it's probably one of the few times you've been able to fight with several teammates from Shield Systems on the same card.
Yeah, actually, this is the first time I've got to, and the vibe is great. All of us getting ready for a fight at the same time. It's pretty awesome.
No doubt. I got Jeff Hobbs in the house. Jeff's a guy that's followed your career even longer than myself. Jeff living out in Middle Tennessee, where you got your amateur career started. Jeff, what you got for Alex?
Man, Alex, good to see you, man. Nice talking to you. Like Tim said, I've been fortunate enough to kind of be around since the infancy of your career out in Dixon, Tennessee. And watching some of your first fights out there. I don't know if you've been watching past shows, back when we were doing another show, with another company. But one of the things I've always been adamant about and said from the beginning is I've never, in the time that I've been here, seen a fighter or experienced a fighter that has done such a 180 turnaround like you have, from where you started and where you are now. It was completely 100% taken back and surprised by the change that came over you with the move to Knoxville and Shield Systems. And mind you, that is no slight on, where you came from. I think it's just more so a trophy for where you're at and the people that you're with now, that they were able to take this still kind of green fighter and new guy and completely change your whole game. What has it been about at Shield Systems that made this happen, man?
Definitely contribute to my coaches, Ben Harrison, Scott Holtzman, Amy and Matt Coleman, and just a lot of good people trained there, especially on the ground. Got lots of brown, black belts. Everyone's super helpful. A lot of great training partners as well.
Well, man, one of the big things that stood out for me was your last fight at the Joe was your striking has really looked crisp and a lot better. But what I was more impressed with was your demeanor and your calmness on your back. And I know you never want to be on your back in a fight, but you were so calm in the situation. There was no panic anymore. You fought off a ton of takedowns before they ever actually happened, which was huge in that fight. You fought them off almost the entire fight or the entire round until the very beginning. But even when your back did touch the ground, you were so calm, you were so confident, you held your own, you minimized the damage, and that was one of the things I've been most impressed with is really your confidence levels. What it seems like.
Oh, for sure. We drilled takedown defense and all that a lot with Scott Holtzman. So big shout out to him. Thank you. As far as confidence, I feel like I've just been improving nonstop since I moved out here. So,
right. Well, I will say the second thing that I was most impressed with that I was not expecting was knowing you were kind of a transplant into the Knoxville area. I wasn't real confident in your fan base. And I will say we were all very much surprised, happily surprised. Dude, what happened? Did you know people in Knoxville already? Because your first fight for Shield Systems in the Joe, you had a loud, rowdy ass crowd there walking the entire venue all night long with flags and sheets and looked like concert sheets with your name spray painted on them. I mean, they were rabid, man. Where the hell did these people come from?
That's from Brand Property Management. It's where I work. A whole bunch of people came out. Jake Stenziano really helped me out with all that stuff. So big shout out to him. So a lot of people from work, really.
Well, that has to be awesome, man. Moving out there and finding a really good job. But it seems like not just a really good job, but it seems like you made a lot of really good friends out there.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about this fight coming up, man. You got, like we mentioned, Jose Arriaga in front of you. Like we said, you like to keep the fight standing where you can. Is this a fight where, you mentioned earlier you'd like for it to stay standing, but is there a part of you that wants to kind of show off some other things? Now, that first fight back against McCann, you actually pulled off a nice submission win. So you showed that you do have some well-rounded skills there. Is there anything that in particular that you'd like to kind of show that you've grown here over your last several months of training?
It's not too often I get someone who wants to stand, so that's where it happens. But if it does go to the ground, yeah, you guys are going to see some much improvement.
Nice. Now this fight is actually at 150 catch weight. Your coach Ben Harrison told me that you're toying around with the idea of going on down to 145. If you're able to do that, you're going to have some significant length advantages, I would think, over several guys.
Oh, definitely. And this is kind of a good test. I've been underweight my past two fights, so it's really just a few more pounds to get to 150. And if I can do that with ease, I'm confident I can get to 145.
Yeah, that's going to open up a whole new world, I think, for you if you get down to that featherweight division for sure. Well, man, before we let you go, I want to let you give some shout-outs where they're due. If you got any friends, family, training partners, things like that, believe you give some love to them and also let people know where they can follow your social media so they can kind of keep up with your career.
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout-out to Rand Property Management, Jake and Gino, Knoxville Foot Care, everybody at Shield Systems. Thank you, guys. Let's see. Then you can follow me, Alex at Trojan Rigs on Facebook. I believe it's Alex or thetrojanrigs.mma on Instagram.
Awesome. This has been Alex Riggs. Once again, you can see him on Aries 3, January 7th, world famous Cotton Eye Joe. If you want to get your tickets, you can get them at fightertix.com. Make sure you select Alex from the drop-down menu so he can get some credit there. And then if you can't make it there live, you can catch the pay-per-view on Spectation Sports. Expectation Sports will have the live pay-per-view there. So we're looking forward to it, Alex. We are about right at a month out at this point. Hopefully you have a great holiday, and we're able to start the year off with a bang, man. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, that is Alex Riggs. Jeff, excited for this one, man. This is a guy that if we were to do like a most improved, like turnaround kind of award, I would think he would be a guy that would be on the short list.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I'm excited and interested in this next fight. Not necessarily for the outcome, but I just can't. I'm ready to see how much more he's grown since the last time we saw him. And just see what kind of improvements he's even built on the improvements we've already seen. So, definitely interested to see which Alex Riggs. We've already seen 2.0. Maybe see what 3.0 looks like.
Yeah, featherweight. Who knows, man? That makes for some very interesting matchups, I got to say. Let's move on to our second interview, Jeff. We've got a dynamic duo joining us here as Pat Crumpton joins us. With his, I guess you would say his manager slash sort of coach, mentor, Jedi, I guess would say Ben Sargent. What's going on, guys? How's it going?
What's up? How y'all doing?
Hey, we're doing good. Appreciate you guys joining us. We're about a month out from showtime. You can catch Pat at Aries 3. It's going down January 7th, world famous Cotton Eye Joe. Pat is going to be taking on Dreon Martin in a lightweight affair. Pat, of course, coming off a win over the 0 Hour's own Justin Watson just about 2-3 weeks ago now at Nashville Underground. Congratulations on that win, Pat. Before we get into talking about new shit, we'll talk about old shit. Talk about this last fight. Got out of there without any damage. Was it always your plan to kind of make this quick turnaround? I know I talk to Ben all the time about setting up your fights, and he talks a lot about you staying active, which I can't argue with.
Yeah, definitely. Went about 2 years not fighting thanks to COVID and just some fights falling through. And I'm 32 now, so I'm definitely trying to be active, because fighting, you can't do it forever. And I figured I'm probably not going to be fighting past the age of 40. So in my head, it's like, all right, you got 8 years to actually make something of this. And of course you got to take it fight by fight. If that ended up being like a long grinder, maybe I wouldn't make as quick of a turnaround. But 31 seconds later, I was like, yeah, I'm fresh and ready to go. I was back in the gym that week, so yeah, I definitely want to be active this year.
So, you're stringing along some wins out. That's 2 in a row. You got Dreon Martin in front of you coming up here in just about a month. Get through the holidays. You're right back to it. Let's talk a little bit about this fight with Dreon. From what I've gathered, Dreon fought with us one time. Fairly good striker. He from what I recall, he fought Garrett Sharp. He took Garrett Sharp down, which ended up being his demise. He was actually doing pretty decent on the feet. What's your take on this fight with Dreon here, and what can we expect from it?
He looks decent. Kind of southpaw. Relatively fast hands. I feel like my ground game is a lot better than his, but I don't know. I feel like I could also stand with him too. I know he has 2 pro boxing fights. And definitely seems game. Won some titles as an amateur. But yeah, I definitely feel like, I can beat him wherever the fight goes. And I definitely want to test it out on the feet, to show everybody I'm like, a well-rounded fighter. Because I know a lot of people think I'm just going to just take him down and grind him, which, sure, if I have to, I'll do it. But there's more in my bag of tricks than I've been able to show. So hopefully I can show that to everybody this coming up fight.
Jeff Hobbs joins me as well here. He's from out in your neck of the woods. So, Jeff has, followed your career for several years. Jeff, what you got for Pat?
Yeah, Pat, good talking to you, man. Good seeing you again after the last fight. You're one of my favorite fighters to watch because I don't think I've ever seen you take a step backwards in a fight, which I love. It's always forward, and pressure. But I will say, you went through a time where we didn't see you, for a while. You took a lot of time off, and here it's like you've kicked it into another gear now. Is this something that's kind of hit you where like now is the time? If I'm going to make a move, it's right now. You're staying active, like we already talked about. As soon as one fight's over, you and your team there are ready to talk about the next one. and it looks like, to me, it looks like you're on a mission. Where is it you're trying to get to, and what's kind of is that time frame?
Yeah, like you said, like I kind of, I went 2 years without fighting, and it's just, injuries. Also, I got a new job. Like for the longest time, I was a butcher, and I had to work like 50 plus hours a week. Like, and throughout my whole amateur career, if you saw me fighting, I had just worked like a full week, that week. So it really was hard to like find time to train, which, I mean, luckily I managed to have, decent success as an amateur, but I knew like trying to go pro, it's a different game, 5-minute rounds. It's makes a big difference. And yeah, just, it was a rough couple of past year, especially. I lost my cousin, I lost my mom, I lost my grandpa, all in the span of a year. And those were 3 people who really contributed to me being like a fighter. Like my grandpa was a pro boxer back in the day, way back in like the 50s. Of course, my mom, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her. And my cousin kind of got me interested in martial arts from a young age with like Bruce Lee and stuff like that. So I don't know. Just after, it all settled, it kind of just puts things in perspective. Life is really short, and I want to make the most of this, while I still can. Because like I said, fighting, can't do it forever. By the time I'm 40, I'm probably going to put this behind me. And, just like I said, going 2 years without fighting, just made me really evaluate that. It's like, I want to do this, and I can't sit here and wait around or, sob about, all your life problems and stuff like that. We all have life problems, and yeah.
But yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to stay super busy. Summertime, we're probably going to kick it into another gear. He's fighting 155 right now. I'd like to see him at 45. Summertime, potentially see what you all have a really tough fight on a main event. I love that Trevor Peak is fighting David Robbins. Huge matchup. I want to bring matchups to your all's promotion like that with Pat at 45. And honestly, not looking past anybody, but I'd like to start that off with Cole Farrell.
Hey, that's a fight that would be a lot of fun. That would get a lot of attention on it. Don't know if we talked Cole into that one or not, but I would be game for it for sure. Ben, of course, you're a former pro fighter, been around the business for a decade or more at this point, so you know the ins and outs of it. What is it? You don't just work with anybody. You know what I mean? You don't just take every dude that wants under your wing. Yeah. What is it you've seen in Pat that kind of separates him from the crowd?
Well, the thing is with Pat is David Robbins and I were actually studying him because we were supposed to fight him as an amateur, and we ended up not fighting because he broke his hand. But did you break your hand? Is that the fight? Okay, yeah. So he couldn't continue, and he beat his opponent, and I was like, this guy's got it. And then I actually ended up moving to Nashville, and I was like, hey, you're that dude. And I was really impressed with his performance. And he's quiet. He's to himself. I'm loud and obnoxious. So we do a good duo. I believe in Pat. He's fought Van Camp. One of the toughest fights I've seen on the local circuit I've ever seen. I'm not, I just don't say that. I don't just give compliments. I don't just put myself for somebody like Pat, but I truly believe in him. I believe he's going to be in the next level, and my goal for him is to surpass me and surpass what I've done, and I want him to surpass me, and I want him to go way further than I've ever wanted to go, could have gone. So,
Ben, I got to ask, have you ever showed Pat the Wesley Sullivan fight? Has he ever been privy to that match?
I've seen a lot of his fights. I don't remember
that's one of my legendary amateur fights.
I'm telling you, all jokes aside, that is where I met Ben Sargent, and that was my first introduction to Ben Sargent. Was Municipal Auditorium, Wesley Sullivan. It was an amateur fight.
For the Southeast ISK welterweight title.
Yes, at that point I had never seen as much blood in a fight. I'd never seen a person's face as disfigured in that fight. But
I won.
Wesley definitely won 99.9% of that fight, but Ben Sargent did not give up and pulled out the slickest submission.
He won the battle. I won the war.
Absolutely. And at that time, just to go ahead and throw it all out there, I think Ben's girlfriend, maybe Wesley's girlfriend, people in the crowd. I remember Nacho Cheese ending up in one of their
Some girl threw a chili dog on my girlfriend's head. She came up to me. She's like, "Oh my God!" She's like, "Congratulations!" I gave her a hug, and I looked at her head. I was like, "What the fuck is on your hair?" There was a chili dog on her head, right at the crease of her hair. I was like, "What?" I was like, "Am I messed up? Is there something going on? Is this like her?" Yeah.
That's when you knew Nashville was your kind of town.
They threw beer bottles at my mom. They went crazy, man.
It was a great fight. And it was a Tennessee classic, I will say.
Well, Pat, man, we talked a little bit about short-term goals, staying busy, trying to get yourself elevated to that next level as quickly as possible. Let's talk about what you're doing to make that happen, man. What's your training situation like over there in Nashville? There's lots of top lightweights, Charlie Alexander out that way. So you've got lots of guys that are, very similar to your size.
The Russian,
yeah.
Yeah, definitely got a lot of talented fighters there. Charlie, Alex, my boy Dedrick Sanders, definitely a bunch of people, all mainly lightweights too. So definitely good to, have people in similar size. But yeah, my coach BT, he's been drilling with me a lot too. So, it's usually an hour of jiu-jitsu, an hour of Muay Thai or MMA there. But I also have my own home gym. So with my job now, I'm lucky to where I only have to work about 5 hours. So I'll get off around 12:30, hit up my home gym. I got bags, mats, treadmill, echo bike, battle ropes. So I do a bunch of conditioning like box jumps, plyometrics, and just kind of do my own thing there for about an hour or two. Then I chill for about 2 hours and then hit up the gym. So yeah, train about 5-6 days a week, just kind of depends on what my schedule is. Cause I do have a house and kind of responsibilities, but yeah, basically training, twice a day, 5-6 days a week.
Responsibilities.
Yes. Responsibilities. Yes.
For last question here, Ben, what if obviously we've seen Pat get a couple quick wins here over the his last couple of fights. What is it that you want to see in this fight coming up January the 7th from the world famous Cotton Eye Joe in about a month? What is it that you want to take away from this fight to feel satisfied that you guys are where you want to be progress wise?
Finish, obviously. I was really big into my professional fighting career, trying to balance out wins, finishes. I don't believe in winning. I believe in finishing. So I would like to see a TKO knockout finish.
Nice. Yeah, knock it out a guy like Dreon Martin with the boxing experience, a guy that'll want to keep it standing. All the more impressive, I got to say. Pat, I'm going to give you some time to give some shout outs where they're doing it. Friends, training partners, sponsors, family members, anybody you want to give some love to, I'll let you do it. And also let our listeners know where they can find your social media so they can keep up with your comings and goings.
Yeah, just a shout out to all my training partners, Charlie Alexander, Alex Brigande, Dedrick Sanders. There's a lot more of them too, but I can't name everybody. Of course, my brother, Ben, of course, got to thank him, one of the, few people who kind of believed in me. And I did feel like I was kind of, unfortunately, training with so many talented people. It's kind of easy to get overlooked when you're training with Alex and Charlie and stuff like that. But, luckily Ben sees the potential in me. But, yeah, my coaches, Dorian, BT, my grandma, my, family and friends, everybody, the people who are going to come see me fight. And social media, it's Patrick Crumpton on Facebook. Instagram's MMA Patrick 89. Don't have a Twitter because I don't have time for that. But that's about it.
Ben, any pipe bombs you want to throw before we let you guys go?
I would like to thank you guys for having us on. I'd like to thank you guys for putting on local fights, man. If it wasn't for you all, then we wouldn't be exploring the journey and exploring his dream. So
appreciate you guys too.
Really looking forward to you guys. We're 1 month away. Aries 3, Pat Crumpton versus Drayon Martin from the world famous Cotton Eye Joe. Get your tickets at fightertix.com. Make sure you select Pat from the menu so he can get some extra cheddar. And if you can't be there live, you can catch the pay-per-view Expectation Sports. Pat, Ben, gentlemen, we will see you guys in about a month. Stay safe and happy holidays.
Good talking to y'all.
Take care, guys.
All right. That was Pat Crumpton, Ben Sargent. Always good catching up with those guys. And, it's like I said when we were talking, man, Ben doesn't just, take a liking like this to just anyone. There was a good while he was kind of working a lot with David Robbins and, as he was coming up. But it's been a while since we've seen Ben kind of attach himself to someone like this, which says good things about Pat.
Yeah. I mean, we've all known each other long enough. We joke with each other. We pick at each other. A lot of people just know Ben is, crazy sumbitch, who, is spacey out there sometimes. But like you said, I mean, at the end of the day, he did have a really good fight career himself as an amateur and as a pro. When it comes to the fight stuff, he knows what he's doing, and he's not going to, like you said, he's not going to latch himself onto a person that's going to make him look bad.
Right.
So obviously he sees something there, but like we touched on, definitely excited to see where Pat's going right now. I love the fact that he is, 100 miles an hour right now, only looking forward. Like you said before many times, it makes your job easier when these guys come out of the cage and automatically say what card they want to go on, how quick they want to turn around, and when they want to fight, because that's one less person you got to go looking for. So as long as Pat's foot is on the pedal and going to be around and stick around, he's definitely a good one for us.
And with that, we'll bring the gang back in. Greg and Justin joins us as we get ready to go into our final segment. Real quick, you guys were listening to the interviews there. Greg, your thoughts on our chats with Alex Riggs and Pat Crumpton? Seen both these guys, in several of their fights.
Also enjoyed Mr. Sargent being on the line with Crumpton. Both really good interviews. Excited to see them both coming up here. I don't know what more to say other than him, Ben mentioning that main event too, just made me think about it again, how big this damn thing is going to be in less than a month, man. It's about to go down, and I'm ready to see all these boys get to going again. And, they keep mentioning, and I talked to you on the phone about it earlier today, the banger of a main event. And you said, I've been waiting so long to make these fucking matches, Greg. And we're making them. And it's only going to get better from here. So what else, man? It's just hurry up, Christmas, get done.
Hey, I'm going to tell you too. One of those cool things for us today. I got a private message, but I also saw that he liked one of our posts. The Hammer, Mark Coleman.
Nice.
Sent a private message asking. We did boost some posts. I boosted some posts today. And one of them was the main event poster that Mark Coleman liked and send us a private message asking us, where all did we promote at and where our show's at. So, it was pretty cool. A little feather in the cap today. So, he's up in Ohio and maybe he's looking for some of his guys a place to go. So,
that's definitely cool.
Cool.
Let's get him a ticket if he wants to come down here.
Of course, yeah. Tell him to come check it out.
Greg likes some wrestlers.
I know it's Mark Coleman. Let's go.
Hey, Greg,
Justin Watson, your take on our chats with Alex and Pat.
Man, Alex did well. I thought he spoke well. First time I think we've talked to him on here. But like you guys said, he's made a lot of improvements since moving over to Shield Systems, and I think this is going to be a good fight to see some of those improvements. If it's not necessarily improvements, I guess he was always a stand-up fighter, but just to see kind of the evolution in the change of his style on the feet. And then definitely looking forward to seeing Pat come back. Super talented guy. Looking forward to seeing him go to 45. I'm not sure that Cole's going to take a fight against anybody with a winning record, but if that fight doesn't come through, man, Logan Neal would be a good fight at 45 with Pat.
There's a lot of interesting fights that could get done at 145 and 55 for that matter. Final segment, guys. We get into it here, and that is I don't know if you guys, if everyone's kept up with all of our Facebook posts, but we just announced the last one today. We're going to go over the 4 pro bouts, early takes for Aries 3. Of course, we announced the main event last week, and it's a big one. David Ruthless Robbins takes on Trevor Peak. 170 Aries pro title will be the first pro title we put on someone, and we talked about it a lot last week. We'll expound on it a little bit more now, and as we go forward, it'll probably be the main thing we talk about. But 2 undefeated guys, like we mentioned, 10-0 combined, 90% finishing rate between the 2 of them. Somebody's O's got to go, all that good shit. Number 1 Alabama, number 1 Tennessee. It's going to be awesome. Co-main event, Pat Crumpton, we just spoke to him. He'll be taking on Dreon Martin in a lightweight affair. Pat with a quick turnaround. Dreon, like we mentioned, had lost to Garrett Sharp last time he fought in this area. But since then, he's gone on and did pro boxing and actually defeated Jeremy Mitchell, who is a solid young prospect. So getting the win in boxing over Jeremy Mitchell was, a pretty nice little accolade, I've got to say. So he's coming in here with some confidence. And then in the pro feature bout, it's 150-pound catchweight Alex Riggs, who we spoke to just a little bit earlier out of Shield Systems. He's going to take on Jose Arriaga, who we just saw in Nashville at the Underground. He is with Angel Natal there in Clarksville, Shelbyville area. Also trains at Tullahoma Thai Boxing, I should say, with Shane Wiggin. But a very aggressive striker. He came up short on the ground there with Sergo, but really was doing okay in the striking and has been in there with some pretty tough guys. He held Tyler Edwards' Primal Combat title there. And so that was a good win for him over Spencer Brandon. So he's a tough guy, and if Riggs will stand with him, that will be a pretty fun fight. And then just announced today our 4th pro bout. Neither guy from the area, but one guy we're very familiar with, Andrew Havener from Nice Guy Submissions up in Indiana. He's going to be making his pro debut. We tried to make that happen down in Chattanooga. Unfortunately, that fell out at the last minute. So he's going to try it again as he brings his disgruntled crew of henchmen with him, Bobby Emmons and Overfield and all those guys. It's always a good time when having those guys down. It's we'll have to talk to Havener before we get into that one. He's going to be taking on Chad Wigington, 1-3 out of Virginia, but that 1-3 is very deceptive. You look a little, dig a little deeper into Chad Wigington's record, you're going to see he went all the rounds with Tony Gravely in his pro debut. Tony Gravely in the UFC right now, and a very tough guy. So he lost to him in his pro debut, but went to a decision. And then his other loss to Paris Artis, not a household name yet, but Paris Artis, Cage Fury, 155 champion, 5-0. He's a uber prospect that you will see in the UFC soon. Both those, so that compromises 2 of his 3 losses. So he's been in there with really tough guys. And so I'm sure he will be very game for Andrew Havener's pro debut. We'll send it around the horn. Quick takes on this pro card. Not asking for predictions or anything just yet, but just early takes on this pro lineup. And then we'll wrap this bad boy up. Justin, I'll let you go first. You'll be judging. So like I said, I can't expect you to give any picks per se or any leans, but just overall takes on these matchups.
Yeah, man, several good ones. Obviously, the main event is going to be wild. David Robbins, very technical striker. Trevor Peak is a hammer. If there's a hammer, Trevor Peak's the hammer. So that's going to be a fun one. The co-main event, like we talked about earlier, and especially if Pat wants to stand and try to show that portion of his game, I think that he has a matchup here that he will be able to do that if he wants to. So that'll be a fun fight. Alex Riggs and Arriaga, definitely another one that hopefully we can see some striking out of. And then looking forward to seeing Havener make that debut. Not really familiar with the guy that he's fighting, but I've seen Havener several times. He's been around for forever. So nice to see him making that jump finally and finally getting an opponent. Hopefully this one sticks around and makes it to the actual fight day.
Greg.
Same thing. I won't harp on all of them, but damn, I'm excited for all of them coming up. I'm really ready to see Havener come up here because he came to Chattanooga, and he showed up, made weight and everything, and his opponent didn't show up, and he was like, "Hey, can I get a fucking hat?" I mean, at least hat. That's what I became a fan. I was like, "Please, I'm leaving with my hat," So, and then he came
Give him
in
a hat
cage
to Bush Light, and he's happy.
and he was happy, and they, he still said they had that keg in their gym. I'm ready to go see that at some point in time. Crumpton, excited to see him come back in the cage. With Willis by his side, there's a bunch. There's a bunch, and then, of course the main event, man. I mean, shit. Anybody I've talked to so far has not said that they're not coming, or at least getting it on pay-per-view. Like this is January. This is January. We're just starting this thing. I mean, like, it's going to be hard to follow, but we're going to follow. We are going to follow. But I'm so excited. I mean, we got four fights, four pro fights.
Four pro fights. We'll go over the amateur fights next week. But yeah, four pro fights on the card.
And we'll be able to bet on all of them on Action 24/7.
Yeah, all four of the pro fights should have lines on Action 24/7. I'm expecting some interesting ones here, for sure. And I really hope they do totals for us again, because that's where it gets really interesting, I think. Jeff, last take of the night. We'll wrap this bad boy up.
Yeah, you just brought up, something I was, hoping to get in with both of these guys while they were on. Just completely slipped my mind. But Pat Crumpton is one of those awesome guests who is staying in the lobby and listening right now. So I know Pat's listening, that these guys are going to be fighting with betting lines on their fights. I'm sure it's the first time for all the guys on the card being in this situation.
Except for David, I guess.
David's been,
yeah. David did on the last one. But for, Crumpton, Riggs, Ariaga, this is the first time. So your crowd can not only back you verbally in the venue, they can financially show their support and try to make a grip on you too. So
we win together, we lose together.
That's right. Literally this time we're going to win and lose together. But like we were saying, I expect these odds to be really actually pretty close. The main event, I can't understand how Action 24/7 would lean too far in either direction. I just would be insane to think that they're going to go too far in either direction. Drayon Martin with his boxing background, I think betting wise should probably close the gap with the experience and the wins with Pat Crumpton. Ariaga and Riggs, I think again should be a really close. Closely contested match, so the odds have to be pretty good on that. Excited for all the fights. We could sit here all day and talk about the main event. In fact, we have usually through text message and group message. But the Pat Crumpton fight, I don't think people realize what a Crumpton win regionally does and what kind of where that puts him with some future fights. I would love to see someone mentioned the Logan Neal fight. From a fan perspective and a fan base perspective, Nathan Ariaga is another fight that I think somebody we've dealt with, that I think a Nathan Ariaga and Pat Crumpton fight would be an absolute, just grinding banger of a fight. There's some great things there. Interested to see the growth of Riggs. And like we've all said, I can't wait to see Andrew Havener. Greg's story is not a lie. It was not fictitious. The guy just had a pro debut, back out, day of notice, not knowing whether he was getting paid. And when we look him in the eye and say, what can we do for you to make this better? He says, can I get one of them Aries hats? It wasn't a lie. That story was not made up. That's how cool this dude is, man. So can't wait to see him get his pro debut out of the way. But if he's taking the guy lightly with that record, he's going to be in for a long night.
We've got one more month till we get there, guys. Next week, we will go over the amateur card, 10 amateur bouts. That we'll go over the amateur card, get early takes on that, as well as UFC 269 recap. I'm sure we'll have a couple of interviews for you guys. One more time, if you would give us a like, give us a subscribe, go to our social media, like and share that at Aries Fight Series, all those things. And you get notifications whenever we post new content. We'll do some more interviews next week. Comment in the comment section and let us know who you want us to talk to. What is one of the fighters in the Aries stable that you want us to get on here? We'll make it happen for you as best we can. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this episode. Just for Justin Watson, Greg Hopkins, Jeff Hobbs, I'm your host, Tim Loy. We're signing out for another edition of the 0 Hour. Thanks for watching. We will see you guys next week.
Peace.